Hello everyone, welcome to another video with me Tensi, talking geeky stuff, and another video about comic artists. This time is about Arthur Adams, or Art Adams as he likes to be known. So Arthur Adams is another great artist, amazing artist. To me, he's always somewhat like Jim Lee, where known for his X-Men as well. I would say he's more Marvel than anything else, because when I was looking for images, pictures, all that stuff to put on this presentation, I didn't really see much of this DC work. Majority of stuff was his own work. He did a lot of variant covers for, say, Image Comics and Wildstorm, but majority of his work came from Marvel. And with Arthur Adams, he came just a little bit before, a few years before Jim Lee and Todd McFarlane, around the mid 80s, around 84, 85, if I remember correctly. By that time, I was still pretty young. Of course, as I got older, I got into Jim Lee and McFarlane around 89, 90. And of course, through them, because I was getting older, of course, and I was getting into art and design. So I started to appreciate what art was, the layout, the style, and so on. So after kind of getting into Jim Lee, Todd McFarlane, and other artists, which I will focus on later on, when I noticed about art just kind of popped out of me. Now I can spot good artists and so on and so forth. And of course, Arthur Adams was one of them that literally just popped out. I was like, wow, I didn't realize I missed a lot of his artwork and his comics and so on, because he came a few years before Jim Lee and Todd McFarlane. So of course, I started collecting a lot of his work. I picked up a lot of his back issues. And one of my favorite miniseries he did was the Long Shot series. I got them in issue form, went to back issue, and I got them in the book form. I think I've got a few of those books, and now I got that in a digital format. So Long Shot is Arthur Adams. I mean, I actually knew Long Shot when he was in the X-Men. It's only when I knew about Arthur Adams, I went back and purchased a lot of Arthur Adams comics that he did. And of course, through that, I found Long Shot miniseries. And through reading Arthur Adams' Long Shot miniseries, I actually really enjoyed Long Shot. He became one of my favorite X-Men. It's a shame that they don't really do much of him, recently. And of course, the thing about Arthur Adams was he never really, unlike Jim Lee and McFarlane, they had a steady regulars, like Uncanny X-Men for Jim Lee, Amazing Spider-Man for Todd McFarlane, right? And later on, they went to do X-Men and just Spider-Man. But Arthur Adams was more like a gun for hire, a really good gun for hire, so to speak. He did a lot of miniseries, of course, like X-Men stuff here. He was a good replacement. He'd done a few Uncanny X-Men before Jim Lee came along. But I've always known him also doing a lot of X-Men annuals. He did a lot of X-Men annuals. And of course, he did a lot of the X-Babies, which was a pretty cool little side thing, I thought it was quite cute. And of course, introduction of Long Shot and the Mojo World and so on. And then, he did another miniseries I really liked was the New Fantastic Four, where he had the Incredible Hulk, Spider-Man, Wolverine, and Ghost Rider. I think it's a 4-part or 5-part issue. That was pretty fun. And of course, he did loads of variant covers. He also did helped with the Avengers. Even later on did Guardians of the Galaxy and so on. He's one of the few artists that I feel that he's, how do you say it? He's another artist that is capable of drawing everyone. I don't think his art style is, how do you say it, makes, like Jim Lee, he makes people look cool. Where Arthur Adams kind of like, he's an all-rounder, and his artwork is very safe. But I don't mean it in a bad way. I think he's very good. I mean, look at his artwork. He fits with the time. When he first came out in the 80s, he still has that very classic look. Some of his characters when he draws, like Captain America, even women, for example. You know, he draws women with that kind of pouty lips. Kind of reminds me of Betty Boo kind of style. And when you know see him draw, say, Captain America character, like even the Mighty Thor, they have that kind of square chin, kind of like the Western style of the 1950s Art Deco, that kind of look. But at the same time, he can ramp it up to the modern day. You know, if you look at some of his work in the Guardian of the Galaxies and even some work he did for Wildstorm and so on. So he can jazz it up as well. And you take a look at the image here where he did the Spider-Verse. So he can draw a pretty decent Spider-Man. So he's a really all-rounder kind of artist. And of course, he branched out. He did other independent comics, Monkey Man O'Brien, stuff like that. He also did covers like for Thundercats, Gen 13, Godzilla. I didn't know he did covers for Appleseed, which is great. And of course, Ultraman as well. So he's very versatile. I mean, look at his Batman, great Batman, very classical, I would say. His artwork has that. If you look at Batman, and even say the Mighty Thor, even Superman, the character he draws, he has that very 50s style, but in a modern lick of paint. Hope that makes sense. But also, one of the things I like about his work as well, if you look at a lot of his black and white work, he uses a lot of cross hatchings and really good detail. And you can see from this image here, he does pretty good ladies. And I mentioned earlier, if you look at some of the images, he makes that woman, like, the pouty lips, reminiscence of the classic Art Deco look, And of course, he does a lot of these. He's one of the few artists that you can argue his work looks better either in color or in black and white. Because some artists, their work definitely pops out when color adds to it, gives that more kind of like a vibrant look. But with Arthur Adams, his artwork, depending what style of artwork it is or which comic he is doing, sort of thing, sometimes they look better with colors. Let me just look at the image where Angela is standing with all the background and color. That looks really strikingly good. But if you look at, say, Storm, for example, I don't think Storm looked good in color, or Wonder Woman looked good in color, because the black and white makes the character pop out. So it's one of those few artists, to me. He has the classic look of the 1950s, 60s, and so on, but he's got like a modern lens to it as well. He's an all-round artist, just like Jim Lee. He doesn't do characters as cool as Jim Lee, like really kind of heroic. It's really hard to explain. I would say Arthur Adams probably like a very, very solid artist to kind of like have a substitute. If your artist is sick, he can come in, do a fantastic job. He's a really, as I say, a good gun hire. He did a lot of the miniseries and so on. So yeah, Arthur Adams, another one of my favorites. Of course, unfortunately, I got into him pretty late. I won't say late, about 5 or so years after, because I was maybe too young to appreciate art. But as I got older, I got into Jim Lee, McFarlane, other cool artists. Like I said, you slowly start to appreciate good art. Because of that, you start discovering many, many more great artists. Anyway, enough about that. Let me know why you're a fan of Arthur Adams' artwork. And please give this video a like if you like it, of course. And please consider subscribing to hear me talk more about geeky stuff. And I'd like to say thank you. And good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever you are in the world. And please stay safe. Goodbye.